Hi, everybody. This is Erica from In the Company of Cards. If you're new, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. And especially today, welcome to Sunday Conversations. You know, I love to have company on Sundays. And so today I have a friend with me, and this is Ethony Dawn. A lot of you may know her work. I think, Ethony, you're kind of a little famous, pretty sure. And if you have taken my course, you should know that Ethony is the holder of that course. She approached me and asked me to put one up and walked me through all the steps. And you were terrific, and I really appreciate it. I know a lot of people who've taken the course have really enjoyed it. So let me just do your little introduction, which I got from the book, and then I will we'll have a conversation. So. Ethony Dawn's a tarot reader and author of Tarot Grimoire and Your Tarot Court. She also created Wisdom Tarot, Luminous Flow Tarot, Modern Love Tarot. Jesus, you're prolific. Awakened Soul Oracle and Money Magic Manifestation cards. She is the headmistress at tarotreadersacademy.com, where she teaches, mentors tarot professionals and students through the courses available there. And you can reach her at ethony.com. Can it be any easier? And Ethony, I'll have all that stuff in the show notes. And so I invited Ethony on. I've known her for a while. Really am a fan. And but she's got a new book out, and I think it is really, really good. It's called Become an Exceptional Tarot Reader. And can I just say, I mean, I feel like, and I mean, this might be disloyal to other people that I know in our mutual magical world. I feel like, you know, this could be a college course, and you wouldn't need anything, any other textbook except this. I mean, are you a teacher by training or anything?
Well, thank you, first of all. And secondly, I just want to say, I feel like we need to do some Lenormand like things this year together
Oh, I'd
because
love to.
I've just been like, she's been calling to me. I would be having dreams about her and Lenormand. And there was another lady, I can't remember her name. Anyway, that's a side quest we can get into later. But yes, I would love to do some more stuff with you this year. Um, but to your question, I actually did go to university for early childhood education. I did full year of that and then realized that the education system, the way it is fundamentally broken for children, and that I didn't want to be a part of a system that forces children to conform and don't have enough resources for neurodivergent children. It's still very rote learning, although we're getting better. So then I changed degrees, but yeah, I do have a like, and then I worked in HR. So I would I'd say like I've done my Enneagram and all that, and I am the teacher,
You're
but
totally, no, you're
yeah.
totally a teacher because you understand. I mean, what I loved about the book as somebody who did teach for 30 years, and by the way, I know you're in Canada and I'm in the US, but I could say exactly the same thing about education. So there are not a lot of places that do it well, and definitely we're not one of them. But anyway, what I recognized is the heart of a teacher, the patience, the thoroughness, the scaffolding of knowledge. And I noticed that you said the same kind of thing that I said in my book, which is, people do like to skip around, and that's fine. But with my book, and I know with your book, really, students are probably best served by starting at page one and working their way through it. I mean, you see how big it is. It's encyclopedic, but I don't mean that to be daunting, right? It's very friendly, it's very readable. And you know how teachers always say, there's no stupid questions? I mean, actually, there kind of are, but you you ask all of the questions I suspect that people would be afraid to ask, which I think is really helpful. So it seems like your philosophy is, no, there is no stupid question, and so you don't have to feel stupid asking. I'm gonna just put it in the book and answer it for you. I think that's great. So it's really a friendly book. And as a writer of my Lenormand book, I think that friendliness is it's such a huge what if you can cross that gap and seem friendly and approachable, then there's no way that people cannot learn from you. So I would say, I mean, if you're someone who's new to tarot, and a lot of my audience, of course, comes big for the political stuff, but they come for the readings, and they've learned how to read Lenormand just by watching what I do. So that's very cool. So if you're piqued by all of this, if your interest is piqued by things magical and mystical, and you want to become again, an exceptional tarot reader, and you want to start from square one and move to exceptional, this is the book. Ethony, I'm so proud of you. I think it's terrific.
Thank you. And I guess like I wrote it very much like how I teach,
Mhm.
and people, and there's a precursor free course before this at the Academy called Tarot 101, where I talk about like the differences between tarot and oracle decks. I dive into the three major systems of Rider-Waite-Smith, Marseille, and Thoth. And so I think from picking up my first deck at 15 and then starting to teach a long time ago, gosh, I can't even remember the first class I actually taught, just because it's Friday morning and my brain is a bit fuzzy. But looking at like the common questions and the common hurdles, and that was even the reason why my first book was Your Tarot Court, because people would get so like scared of the tarot court cards. I mean, sure, we all don't like it when the tower shows up, but at least we know what that means. But then the
Right.
court cards would show up and everyone's like the color would drain from everyone's face.
Now, just
And
so everybody knows, because everybody's not a tarot person here, the court cards are the people cards, right? So there's the book.
there's the book. It's still out.
So the kings, the queens, the pages, the knights, those are
Yeah.
the court cards, right?
Yeah, and so people would get all flustered, and that was like the biggest thing I was getting feedback from. And so that's why I wrote that book first. And then it's just listening to how, people want to learn. And I am always you can sit with me as long as you're not a Nazi or a horrible human being. You can definitely sit at my table. I wanted to connect with you. I want it to be like we're having a conversation over a cup of tea. And the building blocks I feel are so important, because when you're learning a system, and let's not get it twisted, Lenormand and tarot are systems. You can read any card intuitively. I'm not saying you can't, but they have a system, they have core meanings, they have a structure. So when you're learning a system, which is a new language, it is important to build your skills. And the way you build your skills, and you did the same thing in your book, is start at the beginning and get your bones down good, get your foundation down good. And I've always said foundation, the bones of your knowledge, whether it's Lenormand or playing card divination, which is another system, or tarot, is learn the core, because you can always fall back on that information and then build everything else around it. And when the bones are good, when the foundation is good, everything else will be steady. And it
Absolutely.
takes the overwhelm out of it too, right? Just a little bit at
Absolutely.
a time.
Absolutely. And so your book is full of exercises,
Yes,
correct? And
yes,
I mean, I just think you go through it's so systematic uh and so scaffoldy, you know what I mean? So you feel like you're smart by the time you've got the first chapter down, right? And then you only get smarter. I just think it's great. Can you tell us more about Tarot Readers Academy? Because
yes.
I think, I don't know. I mean, I mentioned it in the little introduction, but listen, let me just tell you, this is a big thing that Ethony has going on. It's been around for a while.
11
Um,
years.
yeah, it's 11 years. That's a long time. And in our little magical community, she really is a superstar for having created it. So can you talk about where that came from and what it consists of and how people can get involved with that?
Yeah, of course. So I also just want to mention too, with all the activities in there, I am neurospicy. I'm ADHD, a very late diagnosis in life, like many women, because we kept it all
Yeah.
inside in school and we were very ignored because we were high functioning, right? And I also have dyslexia. So a big part of the exercises is to take the cerebral, which I'm very much a Queen of Swords. I'm a very Gemini, very Mercurial led person in my chart. But when you take the information and put it into practical means, that's when the rubber starts to hit the road. So reading books is great, but the way that the memorization sticks and the way that the information sticks, as you know, is through practice, practice, practice. So yeah, so that's a big thing why there's a lot for you to do in the book, including like journal prompts and things like that for every
I
card
mean,
as
like
well.
I say, I don't think a person needs another book.
Oh,
I
thank
mean,
you.
it's a big book, but
It
still,
is 400 odd pages.
your book bag would only need one book and maybe a notebook and a deck
Yeah.
of cards,
Yeah.
and you could go off to a deserted island and not even ever feel alone or bored or anything and come out as an exceptional tarot reader.
Well,
It's all you need would be this book.
and I do have to say that that is first of all, thank you, but that is also a culmination of people who've paved the way for me to be even able to write this. You know, I've been so lucky that I've been able to meet incredible mentors and teachers and people who have been so open and generous with their support and their feedback. And, you know, if it weren't for everyone paving the way before us, and I mean, I'm in my 40s now, so there are even like the babies doing their thing, well, babies, but you know, people in their
Yeah, a
20s
lot
doing their
younger.
thing, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, oh, you're so cute. Like not you're so cute in a condescending way, but like
Right,
I
right.
love it. Um, whereas, you know, without, and I say this with a full heart, you know, without all of those people that I've had the pleasure to meet and spend time with many living legends and people who passed, we wouldn't have the ability to share what we do. So
Mhm.
it's such an honor to be a part of that beautiful tree, if that makes sense.
Well,
Like
you're
we're all,
definitely a big part of it. I mean, your reputation precedes you. So,
thank you.
yeah.
Thank you. So, the Tarot Readers Academy, to answer your original question, came about when I moved country. So, I'm Australian, as you can probably hear. So, I moved from Australia to Canada in 2013. So, we'll be here 13 years in May. Love that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Love the number 13. And I had everyone in Australia. I had my coven, I had my social groups, my friends. I went to school, like I grew up in Australia, it's my home. So I had all my tarot friends, all my clients, like everyone was there. So I started to look at what I could do to bring my people with me. And I found an online platform, and I was very lucky that thankfully I did a lot of this before there was the need for everyone to move online, and we don't need to go into the
The
horribleness of that.
whys of that. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So what
Yeah.
happened there? But so I did that, and it really just started with this. And when I got pregnant with my son, 5 months after I arrived, so very, very, very early, which was a miracle because I was told I couldn't have children.
Wow.
Yeah, and I only found out I was pregnant because I nearly miscarried. I ended up in the emergency room. So that would like he is just the most beautiful Cancerian, sensitive little soul, spirit talker, you know, like
Mhm.
kid, and he's 12 this year, so he's very healthy and happy. So when I got pregnant and I was doing corporate work still, I was just like, I will never have another chance to be there to raise my child. I love kids. Like I went to university to do early childhood education. My very first job out of high school was at a daycare center. I babysat my all the way through school. So I was like, well, am I going to just go in all on myself and do my readings and everything? This is an opportunity I won't have again
Right.
because I'll be on mat leave, maternity leave. And so I did. And then it just started slowly with being a part of the community and, literally offering free readings to people who would sign up to my newsletter. And then it was a slow progress to get to a place where like it was consistent, but it was like when I wasn't doing mum duties, I was working like
Hmm.
all the time, but that's how it started. And then my big thing too with teaching is collaboration. I've never really understood why we feel the need to like the external need or the external push to compete with each other
Right.
because we really don't have to. So I love
Right.
collaboration because when we have good, ethical, smart, critical thinking, forward thinking, multicultural voices, all in able to reach more people, then A, we're doing better by the communities we want to serve and the people we want to support. And B, we're making sure that there's more content out there that is not going to lead someone to getting their money scammed or feeling as though they're wrong for being able to have a conversation with the cards or knowing when things are going to happen before they do or all those sorts of things. So I'm like, I just want to bring everyone that I can with me. You know what I
Well,
mean? So
that's
that,
right. And I mean, I think that one of the things that people love about you is that ethical sense of how you have put Tarot Readers Academy together and kept it together and drawn people in from all over the place and really had a lot of respect and given a lot of support to professionals who, as you say, want to just share the wisdom, share the knowledge, you know.
yeah, because again, we one voice is great, but many voices from many backgrounds, many perspectives, many communities is what makes art, culture, spirituality, all those sorts of things. It makes it human, and I just got goosebumps up my, if it comes up my left, it's like spirit has like entered the chat because
Oh,
if it's not my right, like it's always my left side of my body because that's what I'm left-handed as well. So, yeah, just acknowledging. But that's how we build that really derailed me. Sorry, I don't know who's here, but yeah,
they approve.
yeah, it's just so important, right? Like it's and now more than like ever, we just and I've said this a lot with like the readings that I did for the year readings I did for 2026 and all the things that I've been doing is like now more than ever, we need to remember that there are real people next door in our communities, our real friends and family that we have good relationships with, who it doesn't always take a lot. Let's have a cup of tea. Let's go for a walk. How are you doing? Do you want to just like hang out and knit together? Or why don't you I've been doing this with one of my best friends. Why don't you bring the book that you're reading over and I'll get some like scones and cream and we'll put the tea on and we'll do like little chunks of reading and then we'll talk about and it's just that connection,
Yeah.
because we are going to find more and more that we're being pushed apart and there's all this fake stuff out there. And it's just remember too that the internet is 60% not people. So so it's just like go back to go back to what matters. And I think that's one of the things I love about the cards. Because they're tactile. And so anyway, I went on a rant there, but
No, not at all. No, I think that's why a lot of people who would not normally be attracted by the kind of work that you and I do are attracted by the work that you and I do. I think you're right. I think the fact that the cards are tactile, the fact that reading them presents opportunity for real life connection with real life people, help us tap into our higher selves wisdom, which
Yeah.
God knows we need. And you're right. These are, listen, let me apologize. I have nothing to do with anything. God knows, because I can't stand them. But as you know, as an American, I love me some Canadians. And I, and I am so sorry. I am so
On it,
sorry that we are being so ugly. But at
but
any
you're
rate,
not though. That's the thing. And like I keep reminding, I have to have to just to like intercede there. Sorry, but like I've had to have this conversation many, many times with people
mhm,
because I go to the States a lot,
mhm,
right? I've got many friends and people there that I genuinely love terribly there. And I work with a lot of American clients
mhm.
and I have to keep reminding, especially like my family as well, who are in Australia and who don't necessarily have that interaction. It's like the American people are generally fantastic, right? Like I I mean I'm very fortunate. I'm the whitest white woman that ever did white. Like I look like a soccer mom. So like I realize my privilege too. But I've like never had it's not the blanket thing, you know what I mean? The government and the systems and the ugly people who are the minority, but they just scream the loudest, unfortunately. Um, Make it difficult for everybody else. But many of the people that I adore have done nothing but be lights the entire way through this and have had nothing to do with anything. So,
All right. Well, wait a minute. You brought this up, so I'm gonna. So you know me. Okay. Here's what I want to know. First of all, thank you for that. And I have lots of people, friends from overseas, who have said the same thing, that they're able to separate the American government from the American people. And I think that's wonderful. But as the American in the room, I feel it really important to say to Americans in the audience that this is grace being extended to us by other people from other countries. We should be grateful for the grace, but we also should not take the grace for granted, because I think the grace has a shelf life. How could it not have a shelf life? At a certain point, I would think that people who are outside of the United States would say, look, we get it. You're not him and you're not them. But what are you doing? Like,
yeah.
what are you doing? Because if you're doing nothing, that's complicity. Now, nobody has said that in my circle of, international friends, but they have to be on some level, I would assume, thinking it. Like, why aren't they in the streets? Why isn't he out of office? Why isn't he hanging upside down like Mussolini? Like, what is it?
And there's been a lot of very interesting conversations on like in the global community about what is happening. And it's not just in America, right? It's in
Right.
Venezuela, it's in Iran, it's in it's in the Palestine,
Yep.
it's in the Congo, it's in so many places, right? I mean, it's like sometimes we don't even know where the fuck to look. And there have been so many conversations about if you're staying quiet, if you're because I'm a very proud witch, and if you're staying quiet in when these horrible injustices are happening because of a race, a religion, a geographical location, a horrible government, when innocent people are suffering and dying, what are you fucking doing? Like, and so I know, like, for me, whenever I share anything, like, I follow the ACLU, I follow like tons of stuff online. And whenever I share anything, I watch my numbers on things go down. And honestly, I don't give a shit. You
Well,
know, like,
no, and I know that about you, and that's why I felt like I could bring it up, because I know you share my concern for what's going on in the world. Can we talk a second though about the fact that sure, there are people who follow our work, but you wouldn't necessarily call them magical people. They may be magical curious kind of thing. But within the magical community, I've been, I came into this maybe 15 years ago or so, something like that. I think that's when I discovered Lenormand. And I thought at the time, oh my God, everybody's so nice. Everybody's so friendly. Everybody's so welcoming. And then I realized, Erica, this is no different than any other arena or I mean, it's just not different. People are people, right? The thing is, we deal in metaphysics, we deal in things of the spirit, right? And so there's an assumption that we're all good people, kind people, nice people, ethical people, not
Mm.
Trumpy people. And yet, that's not
And
true.
yet, it's not true.
It's
Yeah.
not true. I mean, I think, and I don't know anything about astrology. So this is the one thing I pull out to make myself sound smart. I think Pluto in Aquarius, I don't even know what that means, but Pluto in Aquarius is affecting everyone everywhere in every arena. And I feel like what it means is that the way that you thought things were, that will change. Maybe because it was never like that in the first place. And I think that the magical community is another example of that. Like I see a lot of performative stuff
Ugh.
that when you start to dig a little bit, like sometimes I'll ask people to come on my program and talk about this kind of thing, and they crickets, they won't do it.
Which is so bizarre.
It's
It's like,
weird. It's a platform, right? It's a big platform. You can get your point across. You can help a lot of people see things in new ways, but like a lot of influencers, though, generally, influencers have been silent about what's
mm,
going on.
yeah. And I mean, like you can use, there's also the sorry, I just knocked my computer. There's also the same thing, like people are calling out more famous people for that too, which is why people like Mark Ruffalo and Pedro Pascal will, and then just to name it two, just like I love them so much because they have basically they don't give a shit what kind of flack they're going to get for speaking out. They're going to speak out, you know. Um, yeah, it's so Pluto in Aquarius, when we have the planet of death and transformation, so the death card meeting the star card, Aquarius, which is connected to Uranus, which is on the other side of it, also influences the Fool. Um,
See how
which
smart she is? I told you. Go on.
is the death of the unknown, and to have faith that what is actually underneath it all is worth going through the pain of transformation. And it does not justify or excuse anyone's complicity or silence, but it does show, and also where people's chirons are, like the wounded, you know, the teacher and everything. But it does show up with what's going on with people's faith, what's going on. Aquarius is very much the altruistic humanitarian. So this is very like with what's going on um, as well. But it's how people are dealing with their wounds, you know, and dealing with their ugly ego
And the
because
fact that it's impossible to continue to ignore them.
yeah, I know. I've and just to it's crazy because it's that sunk the sunk cost fallacy. I think I'm saying that wrong, but the idea that like you've gone so far, so you may as well double down instead of going, hey, I made a mistake or I was
Mhm,
wrong.
mhm, mhm, mhm,
I think it is the sunk cost fallacy. But it's kind of like that. And if you can't get your ego out of the way, if you can't say, hey, I'm human and I was doing the best with what I could at the time with the information, I now know better and can do better and will do better.
mhm.
It's like, well, of course you're going to, you know, resist and not resist in the right way, but just stick your head in the sand and keep quiet. But I also saw this incredible piece where they were talking about that if you can stay silent because the issue doesn't affect you, that's what privilege is. That's what privilege looks like.
Right.
And if you are in a position of privilege because it does not affect you directly and you're not doing something, that's what abuse of systematic and systemic institutional repression looks like.
That's right.
And there is no fucking way around it. I'm sorry, there just isn't. And my parents raised rebels. I'm sorry, like I don't care. I've never had a sponsorship from fucking anyone. I don't care,
Mm,
because I just think it's like so fundamentally wrong that any child should be in a concentration camp because that's what they are.
that's what
I
they
think
are.
they are, and they're dying and they're sick. I think it's wrong that any child should be bombed in their country. I just like it's just it just baffles me that this is like really this isn't where people are being what on the street. This is not your like hard line. What the
Right.
is?
Right. Right. Love and light.
Oh my God, I want to love and like those people with a heavy boot. Like, honestly, we can't love and light our way out of things. We
No,
can't. We need to dig into the mud. And I love that. I saw another one with like boots on the ground, spirit in the sky, kind of something like that. It's like it's so true.
yeah,
But there are different ways too of helping and assisting and all that kind of stuff. And not all of it needs to be shouted from the
that's
rooftops.
right. That's right.
But there is a need to be supportive. And I, for one, won't be quiet. So
No, I know that about you, and I appreciate that about you. And I have seen a lot of white women um, in ways that have struck me as novel and unexpected and really welcome. Um, it- Confront their privilege and
yeah.
confront each other about privilege because nobody's going to listen to me when I talk about that, but they will listen to you when you talk about that.
Sometimes I feel like sometimes when I bring up the that privilege conversation where I was talking that what I said there, sometimes it's just also crickets and maybe it'll go in and maybe it won't, but
Well, you're
it
you're
yeah.
breaking a code when you bring it up as a white person. You're breaking
Mm,
code because the code says, don't talk about this. Just enjoy it and don't talk about it, right?
yeah.
The
And
codes have to be broken. Pluto and Aquarius, break it
yeah.
all.
And like my Mars is in Gemini as well. So like our
Mhm.
girlfriend can't shut up if she wants to, especially about something she's very passionate about. But I also grew up in a very multicultural city. I'm from Perth, Western Australia. I'm from Fremantle. I went to school in Fremantle, and my family were immigrants, white immigrants, but immigrants to Canada. My parents, sorry, to Australia. My mum's Canadian and my dad's English,
Uh,
and I grew up with Fijian friends and Asian friends and European friends, and I have a multicultural family. And so, like, I didn't grow up with like just completely white faces and white friends and family and white people that I loved. And I think that was, and I traveled a lot. And I think that's also privilege, but a lot of it was for work, but that is also privilege. But being around and loving a lot of different types of people, or types is probably the wrong word, but lots of people from different backgrounds, it really does. It's very different. It changes you or it builds you in a very compassionate manner. And when I worked in childcare, my year block was 2.5 years old to 3.5 year olds. And they were all extremely multicultural, from Indigenous Aboriginal Australian all the way through to, if everywhere. And I can tell you right now, not one of those children gave an absolute crap
mhm,
about what that child looked like, what color skin they had, where they came from, what religion their parents were a part of, because they can't even consent to a spirituality at that age. They don't care. They all played together.
mhm.
They would still have their scuffles over the toys or whatever it was, but they don't care. We are the ones that put those conditions and um, those things on them. So,
Right,
yeah, if we could all go back to where we saw color in a way that celebrated it.
right, right. Because it's
Um,
not about not seeing it. It's
yes,
about
it's
being
not
able to
about us.
see it and celebrate it and keep it moving. No,
Yes,
I get it. I get it.
yeah. So sorry to kind of go on like a really, but I do not understand how anyone can be spiritual or magical or even, I mean, let's not get into religion because that's a whole other thing, but
Right,
like how anyone can come to these practices like tarot and all that, which get you to face those things. Like there is no love and light around the tower. There is no love and light around the five of swords. There is no love and light around the nine of swords. There is no love and light around the ten of swords. There is something transformative and something before and after, but those moments are shit.
right,
They are shit. Because if you've really been in them, you know there is no fun in the mice card. There
right,
is no fun in that. There is no fun in a lot of the time the whip. There is no fun in the coffin or the scythe. Like we have to be willing to go, yeah, guess what? Sometimes life is just crap, but
right,
we are capable of hard things. We are capable of owning our stuff, getting through the muck, and still being a kind, beautiful person, even though it's hard. And
right,
so I don't get where like when people like try and love and light their way around stuff because it's like, well, you're literally ignoring so much of what spirituality and what your spirit, your ancestors, whoever your, whatever your paradigm is, can teach you because you're ignoring that entire other half of yourself.
right. I mean, what I love is that I've seen more and more people sort of in the general public, I'm going to say, willing to do the hard work. And if there are resources that give them tools to be able to do that, all the better. And, I know you are someone who provides a lot of those resources through your work. And, I really appreciate what you do, Ethony. I think you're a light in the world. And, I'm delighted to have had you on. Is there anything I didn't ask you about that you'd like to
Um,
let people know?
I don't think so. I will. So yeah, so the this monster of a book. I want to just give a shout out to the team, the design team, because what I love that they did was they put the cards on the inside, and I've even seen students coloring in the background, which is such a
That's
cool idea.
great.
I've got mine tabbed for easy
Yeah, but
finding.
here's mine. I mean,
Yeah,
it really
so
is a beautiful book.
I love that. So for anyone who doesn't like have the book or kind of hasn't seen it, I really wanted to make sure that for each card you had like the classic imagery and body language. You had astrology that you could, if you want to dive into the astrology of each card, and then there is a full upright and reversed meaning for keywords, love and relationships, career and finance, health and
Oh, you looked
well-being.
at color imagery
Yes,
in the card.
journal prompts for each one as well, so that if you're someone who's like, oh, I know the general meaning of a card, but how does that translate into a health or well-being reading? You can go straight there and have a look. And it's really, and I talk about this in like the first section. It's meant to be something that you build upon, and even as a tarot reader myself and an author, I still have notebooks and tarot journals that I write in, and that I'm expanding my own knowledge and understanding through my life experience and through readings and everything like that. So we're constantly students. So
Absolutely. Well, I recommend the book as well as your other books, as well as Tarot Readers Academy. Ethany's got tons of resources out there to help us navigate our lives and these times. So thank you so much, Ethany, for agreeing to be a guest here. And I hope you'll come back
yeah,
and, we can talk about more hard things. You're one
because
of the
we are
few
capable
willing.
of doing hard things, everybody. We are.
That's right.
And anyone who is a person who is growing and compassionate on their journey, will understand and will hopefully hold space for you when if you're ever able to say, oops, I fucked up, or oops, I learned a lesson, and if you find those people in your life, hold on to them because they are worth their weight in gold.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, as are you. So I'm so glad that I was able to introduce my audience to you. I suspect, like I said, a lot of people may know who you are already, but thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much, Erica, and thank you, everybody.
Yes. And you all, I will see you next week. So have a good rest of your weekend. Take care.